Oh my God, who is this?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, who is singing so funny?
Yeah. What we got? We got science.
What?
We got music. Put them together, let's use it. Wait. Let me be the substrate in your ear receptors. And let this not just be one endeavor. I get crunk on the science. Yeah, I pull the lever. And with the music, I just hope you say, dang, you clever. Whatever. Bring it, master what matters. All the while my life is scattered. You surge on in general. I guess you're David Satcher. And you bet I got you when it comes down to the laughter. And whatever may come after. Scientifically sound so profound. Gonna convert energy like it's dollar to the pound. Just listen to this while you're making some hash browns. Or maybe later after you raking some cash mounds. Who am I? It's Ralph from the South, who raps out his mouth. And we bring the music to the science that's around. And that's on period. And I just thank you for hearing this scientifically sound.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Hocus pocus! Shoot, my camera's out of focus. Welcome back to the sound. This is the Scientifically Sound. You know who it is. It is Ralph from the South. I'm the host that does the most, and I'm not here to boast or just pride, but I'm just happy as a sod bean because it is fall season. How's everybody doing? Where's everyone's hoodies? Where's your sweaters? All that and that jazz. And while it is fall, us grad students have finally made it back into the lab, whether we've been away doing internships, whether we've been away doing conferences and going on tour to talk about our research. As I ponder on those things that summer brought, and now we're dealing with chilling breezes, I always have to reflect on people that you meet. And luckily, I've met many of people thanks to ComSciCon. So much so that I brought some special people with me today. And somehow, I run into people that work on something that I'm very terrified of. Space. The final frontier. And the place that I will never go to. I pray. When it comes to space, I will say this. There may be many a star in the sky, but I will never bat an eye to anyone that goes into space. You have my full respect. And these two people study space. So much so that they have a lot of fun doing it and a lot of fun writing it. So for our guests today, I think it's a right thing to do for them to tell us about scary stories, but we'll get to that later. Beginning, for our first guest, photographer extraordinaire, 6-year astrophysics PhD candidate, down in the dirty old miss. My boy. Out here writing beautifully for LA Times as an intern thanks to the AAAS Mass Media Fellowship. What? Everyone give it up for Sumeet, Mr. Too Sweet, Kulkarni. What's up, Sumeet? How's it going?
Hello.
What's good? And we gotta follow it up with another guest. She's out here not only being fabulous for her swift overlord, as we would say, but she's also out here studying, working, grinding as a 5th year at Northwestern University out of, almost said Chicago, but it's a suburb, Evanston. Also, let us never forget that she knows the way. So much so, we have now Huei. That's the way, Sears. What's good, Huei?
Ooh, I'm so excited to be here.
What's going on, you two? How's it been going? How's life treating you? How's everything thriving? Are we good?
We are stellar.
Very stellar. Slow and steady. Space goes.
Yeah, that was so cornballish. You couldn't use another word for Astro, really?
If you have talked to any of my friends or anyone I talk to, stellar is my catchphrase. Bring it up with Mark Poppenshock, an astronomer on Twitter. Everyone will tell you that you ask me how I am, I always say stellar, which can have double meanings in the sense that stellar is great, or stellar like a star, as in you're ready to explode. So it's a little vague.
You went so morbid. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sumeet, are you stellar? Which stellar are you? Okay, we need some verification.
I'm stellar at the end of a star's, when the star dies and loses everything and becomes a black hole. So that's what I study, and that's what I relate to.
Oh my gosh, Sumeet. I thought you were gonna be all positive and hunky dory. Now,
We'll get to that.
we'll get to that. Now, for all of you listening, Sumeet actually uses smart code in order to understand black holes in our solar system. And Huei looks for the old and the brightest explosions in the old galaxies out there in space. It's like she looks for the Elton Johns in space. Because Elton John's old and, he's a star. I know, that's awful. So I asked this question to all my guests. Any one of you can start. What song is the song for your vibe that happened this week? Whether it's in lab, whether it's in life. I'll let you pick. Whoever wants to go first.
I can jump into this. So this week has been big in terms of chasing the moon for me. So that's one of my hobbies. Like whenever I get frustrated with work stuff, I just like to run away from people and get my camera out, and then try to capture things in the sky. So it's been full moon. I think it was like last Sunday or so, and it was the first week in my life, I think, where I saw 2 moonrises in a row. Have you ever seen a moonrise, Ralph?
I've never seen a moon rise.
Oh my god, you're missing out on so much.
From its beginning, like getting on the horizon and go. Nah, I'm usually in lab looking at how dark it's getting, and the moon doesn't pop out. But I've never seen a moonrise. As you're talking about your art in terms of photography, everyone, I'm going to put his IG information in the bio, but Sumeet got some great pictures of some moons, low key, like they're fire.
Thanks. And I usually do not like the moon because it's like this big bright thing in the sky which is washing out everything else, and that's not good. But only the time when it's full and when it's rising or setting against the horizon with some neat backdrop, and that's when it looks absolutely stunning. So think, and especially the one that I saw, think like Cheeto, think this pumpkin color. You have this moon looking orange, yellow, and just like coming up. I went to a lake that's near over here. And you can actually, the lake faces east, I suppose, so that's where the moon rises, so you can actually see it come up and then shine its light, and that was just, it makes you think.
Makes you think. What song would you associate these feelings with?
I've said I'm quite a big fan of the Arctic Monkeys, and I think their most recent album is this kind of like laid back but weird sci-fi themed one about having a hotel and a base on the moon. It's called Tranquility Base Hotel and Casino, and I really like that. So that has matched up with my vibe for the week with the moon and everything really nicely. And there's a song in there called 4 Stars Out of 5, which sums up my week. It's been around that most of the time. But yeah, great song, great album overall.
Nice. Huei.
Yeah, so the song that describes my week is called It Gets Dark by Sigrid. And it's about, one of the lines in the song is, "It gets dark so I can see the stars." So she's talking about going through some rough patches in her life, but finding the brightness in the dark patches or finding the stars in the night. I'm a big Sigrid fan, so I went to 2 of her concerts in the past few weeks. So in that sense, it describes my week. But there has been a very exciting discovery of a long gamma ray burst this past week, and how do I want to put this? So I study long gamma ray bursts, but a lot of the people that I work with don't study long gamma ray bursts. They all study supernovae, and so they are always excited about these supernovae and talking about that. And so I always want to be part of that, but I study these long GRBs. But now finally there has been this long GRB, and all of these supernova astronomers are now all excited about long GRBs. So in that sense, this long GRB is a star in the darkness of the supernova astronomers. In a way.
Oh my goodness. It's like you're the original, just like it sounds like the astronomers that you're talking about are posers because now they're getting
No, I do not want to be on record calling them posers. No.
No worries. It's just very funny. It's just like, we love supernova. Well, I'm over here, I like GRBs. Man, supernova. Years later.
So
Honestly, this big thing has been in the news, like within the astronomy news for the past few days, and I'm glad Huei's here because I really don't know much about it, so I hope she shares a little bit more, what's cool about this.
So wait, as we all know, I'm a biologist, so I know nothing about space. So what's the big deal about gamma rays? What's the big deal about gamma ray not outbursts? I guess they don't yell, but gamma ray bursts.
So, a gamma ray burst is, as the name suggests, a burst of gamma rays. There are two types of GRBs, gamma ray bursts, short and long. Short gamma ray bursts normally come from the merger of two neutron stars or a neutron star and a black hole. And as their name suggests, they are short, so they don't last very long. But these long GRBs come from the deaths of very massive stars. So when a very massive star dies, it explodes. And given a few parameters, it will explode in a gamma ray burst, and it's usually followed by a supernova. The gamma ray burst, the long gamma ray burst that I was talking about earlier, is the brightest long gamma ray burst that we've ever discovered and the closest long gamma ray burst that we've ever discovered. And so everyone is really, really excited because it's really, really bright and really, really close.
That's so beautiful. I also did not know anything about neutrino stars. I'm glad to know there's stars out there that have the same span as my attention span. So let's go. Woohoo! Now, today's question I pose to Huei and Sumeet is one that I want them to ponder. They can answer at any moment in time. And it is, you have been given an offer to fly into space free of charge, doesn't matter, but you must take one celebrity with you. This celebrity, it can be any celebrity. We're talking politician down to musician up to like, I don't know, what do other people do? President, even local celebrities, like the person that makes great grilled sandwiches out there. They're here to assist you in experiments that you want to do in space. So take into account, yes, you have a celebrity, but they have to be able to help you in the experiment. They just can't be there and look pretty at all.
So they gotta be a scientist.
Look, within reason, like,
Okay.
you're going to be teaching them. You're going to be helping them. Who's the celebrity that you pick? Now, for me, I don't know what I would do in space. I know there's research in regards to, like, bringing cells and bringing different metals and different things up to space to see how they're affected just for being in, I guess, floating, as well as just being around that environment. But I honestly had to think about who I wanted with me. And all I would want is Childish Gambino with me. One, yes, I'm a huge Childish Gambino fan. I love him. But two, I feel like he says certain things that are so profound and they're so simple. I feel like we would get a lot more work done and publish more if he's with me in space. And in terms of his like caliber of working, he's very much a quadruple threat. He sings, he dances, he raps, he makes not movies, he makes shows. So like, okay, he has a record of doing a lot. So I'm pretty sure he could pull off this too.
There won't be a dull moment for sure.
Exactly. Never a dull moment.
Yeah.
So any one of you could answer what celebrity you would want in space with you.
So are we talking dead or alive?
You know what? Bet. We're gonna do that. Dead or alive? Because this adds a whole new thing to it. Because not only do you
I have my answer. Are you ready, Sumeet? Yeah. So I have two answers. It kind of depends on which one you'll accept. So my first answer is I would bring the CEO of ExxonMobil. His name is Darren Woods. And I would bring him to space because I don't know if you guys know, but William Shatner went to space recently. And he said that when he landed, he just had like profound sadness because when he was up in space, he saw like how lonely and cold space was and how warm and precious our beautiful planet Earth is. And he sort of had this wake up moment of like, we really need to take care of our planet. And so I would like ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods to also have that wake up moment. So I would bring him to space with me.
For a moment, I thought you would take them to check them out in space.
No. I want Darren Woods to come back to Earth and restructure ExxonMobil as like a no more oil, we're doing renewable energy only sort of a thing. But I guess he wouldn't be helping me with any experiments up in space. He would probably make my experiments take longer because he'd be probably annoying to be around. So in the alternate answer of having someone to help me with experiments, I think I would bring Taylor Swift for similar reasons. I just have her sing all the time because I usually listen to Taylor Swift music while I work. And so it'd be like a live performance instead of a Spotify recording.
All I've learned is that Huei is just going to be doing all the experiments while everybody else is having a moment. Well, so like Taylor Swift is going to be like, hello everyone, I'm going to re-record my album again. But this time, as I float past Huei, and it's going to be a hit.
Taylor's version, out in space version.
It's going to be lit. It's going to be great. Wait to neutrino stars. But then the other person's like, I can't help you, but I'm crying because I'm looking at the globe. Why am I so small? I have to get it together. Like, you have other intentions. You say, forget the science. We're everyone's having a moment. Sumeet, who do you have?
I guess, I can't go beyond thinking what has to be like a basic answer when it comes to space, but I think I'll take Carl Sagan along with me. I'm more of a doer than a thinker, and he is one of the biggest thinkers that has ever lived, probably. So just being in space with him, just listening in his voice to what's around me, and then when it comes to doing experiments, I need someone to keep me from being distracted all the time. So I just want someone to bounce ideas. And who better than Carl Sagan to think of new things to observe and to do in space. I recently heard a podcast, a New York Times podcast on how when we think about searching for extraterrestrials, we've done for decades, we've tried to listen to radio signals that they may be sending us, but it's sort of a futile exercise, but now the focus is on looking for techno-signatures, so chemicals or things that any advanced civilization might be throwing in their planet's atmosphere, for example. In thinking about this, like Carl Sagan, when the first probe to Jupiter was sent out, it was called the Galileo, and it actually did a couple of slingshots along the Earth. So they shot it out along with one of the space shuttles that launched it. And then it went around, slingshotted around Venus, if I'm not wrong. And then by that time, the Earth had moved in its orbit, so it came back to Earth to get another boost in its speed. And that's when he imagined that this is what an alien spacecraft, if it visits the Earth for the first time, is going to experience when it just flies by. And that was kind of like the first moment, like a first contact scenario, except in this case it was obviously something that humans sent out. But just like his way of thinking at these little things is quite fascinating. Sorry, I rambled.
You got so deep, Sumeet, because honestly, I'm pretty sure everybody was scared when the shuttle came back from Venus. It was just like, wait a minute, what is that? Oh, we said that earlier. My bad. I'm just like,
It's quite the same.
we feel like a chef at a Michelin star restaurant, just like, I sent this out. Why is it coming back? Eat salt. All right, bet here. Oh my gosh. So I could see a series either on Netflix or YouTube of you, Sumeet, with Carl Sagan just floating in chairs and just like thinking. But also, this speaks to Sumeet's character a little bit because he's saying like, you know what, I'm more of a doer. I can't really do the thinking, so I'm gonna give my leadership role and tell Carl to tell me stuff what to do. So we got two opposites. We got you doing that in ways like I'm in charge and I want everyone to feel something. It's a beautiful moment. I enjoy it.
Let's all go together, right?
There we go. All six of us, or seven, I guess, because I'm bringing ExxonMobil CEO Darren Woods.
I'm not ready. But ever since, now I brought this up earlier in the beginning of the episode that I met these two people from ComSciCon, wonderful people. Huei was actually a part of a panel in regards to diversity in STEM, or not STEM, but SciComm. It was a mix of STEM and SciComm. I learned a lot. And Sumeet was actually presenting his work in terms of LA Times as well as Black Hole, but also how he worked with kids in Old Miss territory in terms of doing science outreach. Has anything been updated based on the stuff that you've done? Are you doing anything coming up? Or how did you feel, at least from ComSciCon? Has anything changed? What's up?
I mean, ComSciCon's such a great event. It was actually my fourth ComSciCon as an attendee. And I was just thinking about it, like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie, like the fourth sequel of a movie, because you know how things whittle down, like you can't overdo things, but it's not that with ComSciCon. Like, I knew what I was expecting when I went in there, and it surely didn't disappoint, because it's like when you're there, it feels like anyone you meet, you can be like, I identify with you, even though you don't know much about each other. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has gone through, everyone's a grad student, everyone has faced the troubles that grad students face, has been a part of academia. A lot of people want to do science communication as, either because they've had a hard time in academia, but like everyone's just so good at it in the first place. So even if you've had a great time and if you want to go ahead and become a professor, you just can't stop thinking of creative ways in communicating the work that you do, and that's just so important when it comes to talking with policymakers and just the general public. So yeah, I was really glad to be going back to ComSciCon, and also to get the chance to talk about a little bit about the work in science education that I did with LIGO. So LIGO, LIGO is the gravitational wave detector, and one of them is down in Livingston, Louisiana. So I worked with the Science Education Center. They call it the LIGO SEC, which is the more popular SSC in the country, of course. And they do a really good job conducting field trips for schools in the area. But after COVID, obviously, all of these had to shift into a virtual format. So I tried thinking of how we can do this online, like make a lesson plan, like program simulations that classrooms, like students in a classroom can follow remotely, and do it on a platform that doesn't need installation. So you don't need to send software instructions to each teacher and then have them worry about, is this going to be compatible with all the devices and so on. So that's been an effort.
Nice. Huei?
So this was my first ComSciCon. So ComSciCon is the conference for science communication. And I served as a panelist on a DEI panel as a member of Astrobites. So Astrobites is the blog where graduate students in astronomy write a summary about an astronomy science paper. And Sumeet and I are both authors for Astrobites. And in addition to our daily paper summaries, we also publish Beyond Bytes or Beyond Astrobites that cover anything beyond the graduate experience in astronomy that is just paper writing. So anything that is in a graduate student experience in astronomy that isn't just a science paper. And that was these Beyond posts are the reason that Astrobites was invited to come speak at some ComSciCon. And so I had a great time. It was really, I always am excited to talk about Astrobites. I'm really so proud of the work that we do and the change that we create in our community. I would definitely like to be part of ComSciCon again, but I think I would like to be on the organizing side. So help choose new speakers, try to make our panelists even more diverse than they have been before. And just really work on that aspect instead of attending as a science communication student or as a panelist.
Everyone, I got her on recording saying she wants to be part of the organizing committee, so I'm telling everyone that listens in terms of the ComSciCon. She said it. We're sending an email. Nice. That's so nice that you spoke to us, Huei and Sumeet. And how about this? We're going beyond in this new story that I have for you all today for Scientifically Sound. But first, let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're stellar, the good kind. Ralph from the South here just taking a pause from the episode with me, Huei, and Sumeet, just to say if you are enjoying what you're listening to, please rate, share, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you are listening to your podcast right now. It helps when you're engaging with us. It also helps with the ratings in terms of getting us on the map with this podcast because it's super fun to do, and I want more people to enjoy it. And the other thing I wanted to say, merch alert. You know, it's fall and it's getting a little nippy out there. And here at Scientifically Sound, we thought ahead and created the Scientifically Sound sweatshirt. It's super comfy, keeps you warm as you're data analyzing, and it even might convince your data to be statistically significant. But anecdotally, because that helped me at least. Anywho, check it out on scientificallysound.net. If you want to take a look at what it looks like, I'll put the link in the show notes for this episode, as well as check out our Instagram just to see what it looks like at Scientifically Sound. And let's get back to the show.
Quiet nights of quiet stars, quiet chords from my guitar, floating on the silence that surrounds us. Quiet thoughts and quiet dreams, quiet walks by quiet streams, and a window that looks out on Corcovado. Oh, how lovely.
The words sung. Quiet nights of quiet stars, quiet chords from my guitar, floating on the silence that surrounds us, quiet thoughts and quiet dreams. Quiet walks by quiet streams. You tell them, Car. And window that looking so to Corcovado. Oh, how I lovely. These are the words from the great Brazilian composer, pianist, singer, guitar, and overall extraordinaire, Antonio Carlos Jobim, who would take to his roots in the 1960s. In the 1960s, jazz was looking for something just to grasp onto. Rock and roll, not Rick and roll. I'm sorry. Rock and roll. Nah, you're Rick rolling now. Sorry. Rock and roll would go through a time where, as it's beginning with the Beatles and other bands coming out, where everyone was shifting their focus from jazz and shifting towards rock and roll only. We love it. We're killing it. And it would take someone of this caliber from Brazil to bring us back to knowing that jazz still has something to give us that's beautiful and kind of serene. such as those words that I've read to you earlier that's so romantic. Who knows? Maybe Antonio was looking up at the sky late at night and created those words for the song Corcovado, also known as Quiet Nights of Quiet Stars. Whilst jazz was searching for the new thing that would keep them there, thanks to Antonio, science was also going through a searching point, particularly in astronomy, where Sumeet and Huei, you probably will love this. In the 1960s, Project Ozma, which was a project started with astronomer Frank Drake at the National Radio Astronomy Observatory in West Virginia, would begin looking for extraterrestrials in terms of just searching for ET's intelligence. And it was probably one of the first modern experiments to search for this using electromagnetic radiation changes out in space, which screams a huge big note for me because I'm not going out to space to search for anything. It's already scary enough. You can't hear me anymore? Oh, you can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sumeet.
I was saying, why not? Why don't you want to go into space?
Sumeet, I need air. Air's here. I don't think air's up there. I know, it's a very basic argument, but that's scary. So as I'm thinking about these searching points, I have to go back to the song again with Antonio Jobim with Quiet Nights and Quiet Stars, because ain't nothing quiet out there. There's gamma bursts going out there. There's black holes. There's stars exploding. It's all scary. And so it doesn't help any that thanks to the James Webb Telescope, regardless of how you feel about it, the picture that came out with the black hole, that noise was a haunting hum. I would not want to hear that ever. It sounds like a rickety walk-in freezer that you never go in to get that old bacon you want to make or whatever food you like. So I completely now have to say, space, you scary. And so today we're going to hear some stories and have some discussion about how space is scary to some of us. To others, it might be amazing. From Sumeet and Huei. Which one of you want to go first?
Sumeet wants to go first.
Go ahead, Sumeet.
Well, I can understand why you don't want to go into space, because one of the scariest things is there's a ton of things that are trying to kill you while you're out there. But I think for me, what would scare me a lot if I'm in space and all comfy and protected in a spacesuit and whatnot, like the moment if someone comes up behind me and says boo, if I just hear a sound in space, that would scare the shit out of me, because there's people say in space there is no sound, and that's true because there is nothing to carry sound. But at the same time, as you said, there are explosions happening. Space is an explosive space with all kinds of stuff, which should be making sounds, but they don't, and that for me is pretty spooky. Like, imagine seeing all these events and it's just a little incomplete when you don't get the sound out of them, right? So yeah, it's but talking about sounds in space, the black hole sound that you mentioned was actually something that was created based off of the image. The way saying no. Right. So sonification. I think that image was sonified, right? The one from the Event Horizon Telescope, and this is primarily for those who are visually impaired to be able to understand what's happening in the image and how it looks like. So you can assign sounds to different parts of the image to make them sound and bring out the contrast that's present in the image itself. I spoke with Kim Arkin, who is a data visualizer at NASA recently. And well, first of all, how is that for a job description? Like, you work at NASA and your job is to communicate science and visualize data. And she's part of a team.
It's going to be you one day. Don't worry.
I would love to. That'd be a dream job, honestly. But yeah, she's a part of the team who creates these sonifications. Like if there are stars in an image, you assign some chimes to it. If there's like nebula and diffuse stuff, you have like symphonic lower frequency, like a trough, a cello, for instance, and you can really make beautiful images that we can see, but some people cannot appreciate appreciate those images through the sound that you can add to an image like that. So yeah, it's I wrote about sonification in one of my stories over the summer, which is going to come out pretty soon. And I just think it's a brilliant exercise because astronomy is such a visual science, but sound can help us reach it out to more people.
For sure. Wei, what are you about to say?
I was going to say, I was shaking my head earlier when you said it came from the image, which wasn't a full no, but most sonification efforts convert like the light frequency to a sound frequency. So light and sound are obviously different types. I shouldn't say obviously, they are different types of waves. And so, but you can just transfer the frequency of the sound wave to a light wave, or the light wave to the sound wave, and then that's what you hear. But with this image of the black hole, which I assume you're going to link in the podcast notes, that sound is actually like a sound you could hear in space if you were at this location of the black hole. So this black hole is at the center of a galaxy cluster. The galaxy cluster is called M87 and is the same black hole that the first black hole image was taken of back a few years ago. And because this galaxy cluster is so dense, the sound that this black hole gave off by, I don't remember why the sound was created, but it ejected something or had some pressure wave that it emitted. Because it was so dense, you could actually hear the sound of this emission. But the sound is so low frequency, it's too low for our human ears to hear. So these NASA sonifiers just upped the frequency by several orders of magnitude or several powers of 10. And that is the sound that you hear in this image. And I was shaking my head no, because normally when you sonify an image, you're just transferring the light frequency to a sound frequency. But this is a real sound frequency that they just maximized so we can hear it, or shifted so we could hear it.
That's one crazy, because it's crazy for me. I'm a cancer biologist, so I don't know anything about this. As I said, don't want to go to space, but knowing what happens normally, and now knowing that there are now advances out there, just essentially for you to say you just had to be there to hear it. Like the fact that there's sound in space and there's not sound in space, it's gonna be a debate. I'm pretty sure it's debate still. But the fact that a galaxy cluster, I know nothing about that. But the fact that those certain conditions have to be met is astonishing. I don't know how it happens.
It's just a matter of density. So if there is sufficient particle density or sufficient stuff around where a pressure wave could occur, you can hear sound as long as you're within that matter space. But space is actually not empty. It's just not very dense. And so sound waves can't travel.
You can't say that about space.
I
That's
can.
so mean. Space is not, I know space not that dense, but they have other qualities. Sure.
That's absolutely, yeah, that's very right, and it's very nuanced, right? Because sound needs a medium to travel, and if you have a vacuum, or if you have if a region of emptiness, then it can't. So just to make sure people don't misunderstand or misinterpret these kinds of exercises, to believe that there is, if you step out into space, you hear sounds all the time. That's definitely not true. And I've heard people spreading these misconceptions. I don't want to pick out on anybody, but people say that you hear the sound om in space. which is linked to religious beliefs. In Hinduism, it's a sacred sound, but you absolutely do not hear that sound in space, or black holes are not creating that particular sound in space.
If I heard that, I'll be like, "What you say?"
That'd be the scariest thing ever.
It would be. That's kind of dope. That's why I picked that song, because it's not silent. Obviously, it's in a vacuum. It's silent, but they're nuanced. I love the nuance. I love the nuance of space. I love the nuance of anything that, I think it's debated. I think I spoke on this before. We all love that quote from Alien, the movie, where it's just like, in space, no one will hear you scream. Yeah, no one won't, but, there's sound somewhere out there, all that. Sumeet's just so enthralled with everything with this. I enjoy it. So what's the scary thing for you, Huei?
Okay, so the scary thing for me...
Thank you. No, wait, you gotta sing that. Don't dare just type it in. Finish it.
No.
You already said you sing. You said you sing. You gotta put it... Watch this, Sumeet.
Do it.
Out there.
No. I will not be singing on this.
Hey, beneath the pale moonlight. Because Huei didn't want to help.
Someone speaking.
Yeah, you gotta do it to make him stop.
I don't know all the words to that song. Anyway, so the scary thing in space that I wanted to mention was something I mentioned earlier. So it's about this really bright gamma ray burst. So this gamma ray burst is super, super bright, or very energetic. And so if you just Google search gamma ray burst right now, a lot of the first results will be like science summaries about this discovery that should be approachable to the general public. And in one of the summaries, it says that most gamma ray bursts, or most long gamma ray bursts, are roughly 1 giga electron volt, which is like 1 billion electron volts of energy. And a few we have found have been around 1 TeV, or 1 tera electron volt. But this GRB that we discovered a few days ago, or I guess at this point it's like 6 days ago, so almost a week ago, was at 18 tera electron volts. So it's really, really, really bright, brighter than any other GRB we have ever seen, or ever detected. I guess that's the same thing. Seen, detected. And it's really, really close. So it is at a redshift. So redshift is a word astronomers use. It's a concept astronomers use to describe distance. It's at a redshift of 0.15, which is roughly 2 billion light years away. And it's still really, really bright right now. We're just seeing the gamma ray burst, so we don't know anything about the galaxy that it came from, or we don't have any observational evidence of the star that it came from, or anything like that. So we just see this gamma ray burst right now. And this GRB was so bright and so powerful that its gamma rays and the X-rays that it emitted have reached our planet Earth and have actually affected our ionosphere. And so there is a plot in one of the notices that astronomers send out about this GRB that shows that there's a measurable difference in our ionosphere caused by this GRB, which is just bonkers to me, because I study gamma ray bursts and the galaxies that they occur in at really, really, really far distances. So like 1 billion years after the universe was created. And we, at our location, are 13 billion years after our universe was created. So normally the GOBs that I study, they don't affect us. The galaxies are nowhere near us, all that jazz. So it's a little... I don't know if it's scary, but it's really exciting that this GRB is just so, so powerful. I want to pause here if there's any questions, comments, before I continue with the really scary part about this.
Well, right now it's already scary, because all I can imagine is a bunch of X-rays coming into our living environment and just heating us up. I just imagine radiation
Right.
at this point.
That's what our ionosphere is for. It protects us.
Well, yes, but you know our
atmosphere.
Our ionosphere is struggling right now, as you know. I don't know why you acting like we're gonna be okay.
It got pinged a little bit, but we're still okay. This GRB won't affect us. It won't. It's not like we're getting X-rayed from the GRB.
Literally, as you're talking about it, I think the stereotypical thing most people think when scary for space is like a huge meteor is coming towards our whole place, and you just come out as like, nah.
Okay, so here is the not scary. Here's the treat to the trick, I suppose. Is that so? This gamma ray burst is 2 billion light years away, and so the big fear, or the big scary thing that people are scared of is what would happen if a GRB happened in our galaxy. If it happened in our galaxy and it was pointed at us, I don't know that Earth would be supportive of human life for too long. But there was a study done back in 2006 that said that that is very unlikely to happen. Our Milky Way does not have the environment conducive to a gamma ray burst, and it is very, very unlikely. I don't know if they quoted a percentage, but a GRB will not happen in a Milky Way, so there's no fear there. And I think one of the conclusions in that paper was, could a GRB have killed the dinosaurs? And the answer is no, because a long GRB would not have happened in our Milky Way. But that's not the scary part of this story that I wanted to share. The scary part of the story that I wanted to share is that, in a roundabout way, so climate change is something that I am deeply interested in resolving and stopping global warming and all of that. And oftentimes, newscasters and political pundits will say, oh, humans are not the cause of global warming, so we can continue on with our overconsumption and continue on with life as we know it, taking no need to be more responsible with our resource use. And now that this gamma ray burst from 2 billion light years away is affecting our atmosphere, I am worried, I am scared that our public sphere will say, oh, well, GRBs are the cause of climate change. Look at how this explosion affected our atmosphere, which is not true. Climate change is human-caused, and we can solve it, and we are solving it, and GRBs are not the cause of climate change.
So basically, the real scary thing from your story and Sumeet's story is communication faux pas.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
That's the theme of this whole thing. You know what's really scary? What we say.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
Whether it's spreading rumors about hearing Ohm in space, or whether it's taking the responsibility we have to our wonderful Earth and putting it in danger due to the fact that there's a huge GRB out there somewhere. I'm not going to tee you up ever again, Huei. It's scary out here for this. That's astonishing to think about. Because honestly, when we think about the communication of science, at least I don't know, in this day and age, we're thinking about the COVID in terms of COVID and vaccines and everything. But I did not know y'all have your own struggles in astronomy and thinking about it. Regardless of how people feel, you're going to face it everywhere, I guess, in other fields of science.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. This was good. I learned way so much. I'm pretty excited to see what new astro discoveries will happen. Sumeet and Huei, thank you so much for coming on to The Sound. Y'all were wonderful guests. If you have anything coming up, let us know now. Or even just drop your socials so people can reach out to you. If you want to see Sumeet's photography skills, or if you want to hear Huei sing Taylor Swift over and over again.
I sing other songs too.
I know. I just like messing with you. But Sumeet, Huei, where can they reach you?
You can find me on Twitter at my first name _ my last name, so HUEI_SEARS. That's where I am. That's where you can find me.
And you can find me on Twitter at Sumeet, my first name, _ the first part of my last name. That's just KUL, the cool part of my last name. And you can also find me on Instagram if you want to check out my pictures. I'm at d.sumeetsonian, which is like Smithsonian, but with, yeah, you got it. So yeah, d.sumeetsonian on the Instagram.
And if you want to reach out and learn more about these two, you can check out the podcast notes and bio that I have for them. It's been a wild ride learning about astro. I'm still not going up there, but that shouldn't stop you from being stellar. Let's say goodbye to everyone. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you, Ralph. Keep rocking.
It's me, Ralph from the South. Thank you so much for listening to this month's episode of Scientifically Sound. I hope you enjoyed it. I totally had so much fun hanging with Huei and Sumeet as we talk about some scary things in space, some scary things in science communication, as well as I had some fun on the side too. If you like what you heard and want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram at Scientifically Sound. All one word. You can follow us on Twitter at the_sci_sound. And you should visit our website at scientificallysound.net. Also, if you want to connect with us and maybe you want to know more about some music, maybe you want to give us suggestions for a science topic, you can email us at thescientificallysound@gmail.com. As Nicki Minaj once said, starships were meant to fly, and I have to go to lab. I'll see you next time for next month's episode. Bye!